All right, we're going to talk about sanitation. It's always very important that we follow the proper sanitation procedures. One of the most important things you can do is always use gloves. Okay, you can buy the cheap gloves, you can buy the more expensive ones, whatever you prefer. But always use gloves, and change and switch your gloves as periodically or as often as you can, especially when you're switching from raw meat to cooked meat. That's very important. You don't want to have any of that cross contamination. That's when most foodborne illnesses occur, is when people switch from raw to cooked. Okay, so we also want to keep our surface area clean, our cutting area, our serving area. You can use Clorox wipes, a little bit of bleach in them. Wipe down your area, keep it nice and clean. And I also found keep it nice and tidy and organized. If you're doing a demonstration, you walk up and see how it's disorganized and there's sauce everywhere, there's dirty towels and stuff laying everywhere. This is not very appetizing, so you always want to keep it nice and tidy and organized. And also have a trash can nearby that you can always dispose of things readily. Keeps it nice and tidy. Another trick that I found is you can always wrap your table in plastic wrap or tin foil as you prepare if you don't have a cutting board to work with. So when you're preparing raw meats, wrap it with foil or plastic wrap, prepare that, roll it up, sanitize it, nice, quick, and easy preparation. Same with your cooked. If you have to, put your cooked stuff on there as well, but make sure it's covered with plastic wrap or foil. Makes it nice and easy to clean up. So once again, always follow proper sanitation and make your place nice and clean and appetizing to your customers. Now we're going to show you how to fire up your Traeger. What you want to do is you want to open your lid and turn it to smoke. That's going to ignite your igniter that's in the middle of your fire pot. It's also going to start that auger turning from your hopper into your fire pot. So in about 3 to 4 minutes, you'll have a real wood fire burning inside your Traeger. After you see smoke, you want to shut your lid and adjust the temperature to whatever you're cooking at. So you're cooking at 350 degrees, set it to 350 degrees, just like you would your oven in your house. In about 10 minutes, it'll be up to temperature, just like preheating your oven. And then you can cook on your grill. Now, shutting it down is just as easy. Now, you want to open your grill with your lid once again, and turn it to what it says shut down cycle right here. Now, that's going to stop your auger from feeding pellets into your fire pot, but your fan is going to stay on. You're still going to hear that fan going. The reason why that fan stays on is to burn up the excess pellets that are remaining in your fire pot. And after 4 to 5 minutes, your grill is going to cool down, and your grill will shut itself off automatically. And then you're done. Shut your lid, it's cooled off, put your cover on, you're good to go till the next time you cook on your grill. All right, we're going to show you how to smoke some nuts. Today we happen to be using almonds, but you could use peanuts, cashews, walnuts. You could even use pistachios, whatever kind of nuts that you like and prefer. They all work great on the Traeger. Another thing we also like to do is we like to smoke some chips. Smoked chips are unbelievable, smoked on the Traeger. People are always amazed that you smoke these. Wow, you smoke some chips? You could do Fritos, you could use kettle chips, Cheetos, Cheez-Its, whatever you want. You can smoke it. Okay, so we got some almonds. Got them in our bowl. We're going to start with a tablespoon of oil. We're just going to incorporate that. Make sure it's coating every single almond there. And then we're going to add some of our Cajun rub. You could use any rub that you want. We happen to be using Cajun rub today. We like it hot and spicy around here. You could use our prime rib rub, our blackened Saskatchewan, salt and pepper is even unbelievable on here as well. Anything you like. Lemon and pepper is great as well. So that's going to be tossed around, evenly coated right here in your mixing bowl. It's going to go right onto a sheet pan. Spread those out nice and evenly. Set your Traeger to 225 degrees, 225 degrees for 30 minutes. That's going to smoke. And that smoke's going to penetrate every single one of those nuts, You're going to have almost the most unbelievable nuts you've ever had. All right, we're going to go ahead and check our almonds. Been smoking for about 25 minutes. Actually, been smoking. Let me go ahead and put those in our sample cups. 2 almonds per cup. And since these don't have to be sitting out at a certain temperature, you can go ahead and fill up the whole tray. Okay? You can actually do these a couple days ahead of time. You can smoke almonds. You can mix in the same sampling. You can mix it in with some chips. Feel like that. Give people some variety. Try a couple of things. Just something to make it a little more exciting. This is one of those other things you can do a couple days ahead of time. It takes relatively short period of time to make them as well. So this is smoked chips and our Traeger smoked almonds. All right, we're going to show you how to do some Traeger bacon. Traeger bacon is one of my favorite vegetables. You can cook it right on the Traeger grill. You always want to make sure you follow the proper sanitation procedures, using gloves, switching through your raw meat from your cooked to your raw, and you also want to use a clean cutting board at all times. Now, 10 pounds of bacon is going to serve between 50 to 60 people. Obviously, 2 pounds of bacon, about 100 people. So that's very important to keep in mind because this is going to go fast once you serve it. So you want to cook enough ahead of time that you don't run out during your demonstration. So plan accordingly and do the math and make sure you don't run out while you're serving this. All right, so we're going to start out with some maple syrup. This is a maple and brown sugared bacon. Just get your basting brush here. You're going to brush that right on each piece of bacon. Okay, it's going to go really fast here. You could use a sheet pan. Once again, if you want to do dishes, you can use a disposable aluminum foil pan, the kind that you cook your Thanksgiving turkeys in. Those are even better because you don't have to wash and do dishes. Most of you guys won't have a dish area in your stores when you're demonstrating this. This is actually, you can actually do something a couple of days ahead of time. It's going to hold very well. You don't have to do it the day of even. That's what I like about, other thing I like about doing the Traegered bacon. Okay, so once you got your syrup on, you want to make sure you do both sides. Flip that over. All right. One thing I also like to do is I use that thick cut bacon. It seems to cook a little bit better and a little more substantial. It doesn't shrink up as much when you get those little thinner cuts of bacon. So the thick cut, I found it works quite a bit better than the thin cut as well. All right, once you got your maple syrup on there, grab some brown sugar. That's going to stick on there. You're going to sprinkle it on there. You don't want to go too heavy on there because as this cooks, it's just going to drip off and burn on your grease pan there. So just go lightly on the brown sugar. Spread that around, just like that. Okay. Once again, you want to do both sides. It's going to be good. All right. So once you got it on there, you can take it right out this sheet pan. That's the cool thing about it is you can cook it right on your grill grate. Make sure that grill grate is clean. Set your Traeger to 300 degrees. You want to cook it at a lower temperature. Lower temperature, you want to render out that fat, but you also want to don't want to burn those sugars right away. So that's very important to remember. Lower temperature when you're cooking your bacon. It's going to render the fat. It's not going to burn. Oh yeah. Love me some bacon. All right. right, so about 30 minutes, we'll come back and check it. All right, it's been about 30 minutes. We're going to go ahead and check our bacon. Oh yeah, nice and smoky, nice and candy. That sugar and that maple syrup has been nice and crisp on top. Like I said, it's kind of soft now, but it's going to harden up as it cools. So don't think it's still raw. Okay. If you want to add a little extra heat to this, when you put this on you're making your bacon, add a little cayenne pepper to it. It's got a little bite to it as well. So once that's cooled, you can actually, if you want to stick that in the refrigerator, let it cool off. Once that's cooled, you can just cut it into fourths. Just like that. Okay. And that's your sample right there. 1/4 of a piece of bacon per section. People are going to be amazed how easy it is to do, and they actually cook bacon right on a barbecue grill. All right, that's the Traeger bacon. Amazing. We're going to show you how to do some chicken wings today. Chicken wings are fast, they're inexpensive, and you can cook them within under an hour. One of my favorite things to do on the Traeger. What you want to do, a 20-pound bag of wings is going to cook roughly about 100 people on your Traeger. We're going to go ahead and get started here. We're going to start with some beef rub, some chicken rub, about a tablespoon of each. And we're going to pour that right on our wings. Sprinkle that on there. Doesn't have to be exact. We're going to go for a little chicken rub, just like that. And we're going to toss that around with your hand. That's the easiest way to do it, is just using your hands there. Just make sure that's evenly coating your wings. It's going to add another layer of flavor. That's what it's all about, is just layering those flavors. You're going to get that smoke flavor from the Traeger. You're going to get those flavor from the spices. And also we're going to show you how to add an extra layer from your sauce at the very end. All right. So once that's all rubbed in there and incorporated, we're going to throw that right on your Traeger at 350 degrees. Whoa. Just kind of spread them out. Make sure they're not overlapping and touching. You're going to get that even cooking on every single one. Especially with poultry, you want to make sure that it's cooked to the right temperature. All right, so that's going to sit for 30 minutes. You want to cook that at 350 degrees, and you want to temp that to 106 degrees internal temp. So we'll be back in about 30 minutes. All right, we're back. We're going to go ahead and temp these. It's been 30 minutes. Yep, they're done. We're going to go ahead and stick these in a bowl. And we want to make sure that you could use any sauce on this at all that you want. You could use, today we're going to use the mandarin glaze. You could use our Texas spicy. You could use the honey bourbon. You could use our chili. This is one of my favorites right here. I'm going to go ahead and pour that on there. All right. Go ahead and toss that. The reason why we're doing this at the end is so your sugars don't burn. And that's going to add an extra layer of flavor. Make sure that's nice and coated. That's going to go back on your grill just for a few minutes, about 10 minutes. Spread those around. Just like that. All right, so it's been 10 minutes. After we sauced them, we're gonna pull those off. We're gonna put it in a metal pan. You could use a disposable aluminum foil pan, anything with kind of some deep sides on it. And we're also gonna cover those with foil. That's gonna keep it right hot, right on our Traeger while we serve them. We're gonna turn our temperature down to 225 degrees while we're holding this throughout our demonstration, just to make sure that they're not overcooking and they're gonna be nice and hot when we serve them. These are gonna be good. So you got that layer of rub, you got that layer of smoke from the Traeger, you also got that third crispy layer just from your sauce at the very end. All right? So we're gonna cover these with our foil. We're gonna keep those hot right on our grill. Just like that. Now the best way to serve these is in those portion cups. They're 2-ounce cups. So as you're serving them, you want to just unwrap your foil here. Grab some with your tongue. You get 1 wing per cup. It's just a sample. Just put them in just like that. Now, if you have a long line, obviously you want to fill up your whole tray. If you have a shorter line, you just want to fill it up as needed. And just grab from your grill here. Now you can serve those, making sure if you're pulling them off your pan, they're always going to be hot, they're always going to be fresh. People are always going to be impressed with the products coming off your Traeger grill. So that's how you do the Traeger chicken wings. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. We're going to show you how to do a pork butt, commonly known as a Boston butt. This actually isn't the hind end of the pork. It's actually the front end, the shoulder. So in your butcher shop, ask for a Boston butt or a pork shoulder. That's what you're looking for. These are the best kind they commonly use for pulled pork, barbecue pork. So that's what you want to use. 10 to 12 pound pork shoulder will roughly serve about 100 people once again. So that's very important to keep in mind your portions. You don't want to run out of pork because it does take quite a long time to cook this pork. You can't just fire one up and have it done in a few minutes. So do your math, plan accordingly, okay? Especially on the pork. The reason why I love the pork is because people are so amazed when you tell them you cooked it for about 10 to 15 hours doing the pork. That's what's great about it. It's inexpensive. Usually under $2 a pound, $15 a pound. That's why we like doing the pork shoulder. Okay, we're going to start out with using some Traeger sweet rub. Okay, people prefer, or most people prefer, that they have their porks a little bit sweeter, something with a little bit of brown sugar, a little brown sugar content in that. And we're going to rub that right on our pork shoulder. We're going to rub that all around, make sure we're covering all sides. And you can be a little bit heavy-handed on this as well, because you got to remember you got all that meat underneath the surface there that you get. It's going to need flavor as well. So be a little heavy-handed on that. Rub that down. Kind of rub that in a little bit. You got a little excess there on your cutting board, you can just tap it in just like that. There you go. All right, once that's all rubbed in just like that, you can go ahead and throw it right on your Traeger. Set your Traeger to 225 degrees. You want to make sure you put it fat side down. Okay, fat side down. The reason why we do fat side down is because you're going to get a nice bark on top. And that fat cap's going to be pulled off as you shred your pork, and that's going to have a lot of bark. So if you fat side up, you're going to lose a lot of that flavor. Okay? So you want to, this part is going to have a nice bark on it, and you're going to keep a lot of that flavor. So fat side down. That's going to go for about 3 hours. We're going to come back and check it about. All right, it's been about 3 hours. We're going to go ahead and check our pork. After 3 hours, you should be about 160 degrees internal temperature. That's when you want to wrap it. Now you can go ahead and use a deep-sided dish here, or you can once again use one of those chicken roasting or turkey roasting pans that you use for Thanksgiving. So go ahead and put that in a deep dish here like that. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and put in some cola, about 2 cups of cola. You could use root beer, you could use Dr. Pepper, apple juice, whatever you have laying around. So something a little braising liquid here. So basically at this point you're just braising liquid here. I'm going to cover with some tin foil. Make sure that it's nice and tightly wrapped around the edges here, so none of your heat escapes. That's going to finish the cooking process. Okay. After that, you want to bring your grill up to 300 degrees and put it back on. And now it's going to cook for another 7 to 8 hours. Right there, just like that, low and slow. And then after 8 hours, it's going to hit about 204 degrees. And that's where you want to pull it off, and that should be perfect. We're going to come check it later. It's been about 8 hours now. So we're going to go ahead and check our pork. I'm going to wrap it a little bit. Be careful not to burn yourself. Stick it in there. You can even tell that it's done just by when you poke it in that meat. It's nice and soft. It goes in nice and easy. Oh yeah, we're at 204. Okay. When you hit 204, it breaks down all those connective tissues, all that cartilage, and breaks down all that fat. And all that fat melts into the meat. That's where it gets all your flavor and adds all that moisture. That's the perfect temperature you want to cook your pork to, is 204. All right. Our pork's at 204 degrees. We're going to go ahead and pull it off. All right. All right, it's nice. And if you can see that, it's going to pull, it's going to shred nice and even. And that's when you know it's done, especially when you can pull that bone right out, just like that. Your bone comes clean, just like that. Okay? So now when you portion this out, you want to, once again, you want to get too far ahead of yourself. You want to portion just enough to the amount of people that you're serving at the time. So you put a couple samples out, just like that. About an ounce per person. And then you can always wrap it back up. Put your foil back on. Your grill's already set at 225 degrees. Keep it warm as you go. So that's going to be a crowd favorite right there, the Traeger pulled pork.